Think of the smartest person you know. What is the dumbest thing they've ever done?
While applying for a job, he thought sick pay meant that the job paid really well.
My one college professor had a double doctorate, several masters, and was the head of the national magazine for his field and had a lot of respect in the science community. He didn't know electric eels were real. Like he argued with us.
My colleague was tasked to put mail into the mailbox. She asked me where it is and what it looks like. Around the corner, and it's a red box. Turns out, there is another red box marked General Waste. About 2 meters away, is the red box that spells out Australia Post. She's been throwing away mail.
Brother-in-law is a pretty clever guy. Ran a bath for his kid, couldn't get the tap to turn off, mad panic. Rang a plumber friend asking him to come round quick or the house is gonna flood. Friend was like, you could just pull the plug? Real nice, real clever guy. Zero common sense.
I lived in Colorado Springs. My friend came into town and was booked into a hotel. I called and asked for the name or address of the hotel and he told me he did not know, but he could see the mountains from where he was. He narrowed his location down to a time zone.
I don't know if he's necessarily the smartest person I know, but I know a pretty smart astrophysicist who pointed out a star to us which was in fact a plane.
I was picking up my date, future wife, when her valedictorian roommate turned quickly away from the TV and said in all seriousness, "Don't look, they're welding. It will damage your eyes." She got more serious as I continued to look back and forth at the TV and her. She actually yelled, "It's going to blind you." I then asked her, "So when your TV is showing an image of the sun?" That's as far as I got. You could see the wave of embarrassment wash over her face. She immediately started crying and begged me not to tell anyone.
My friend has a master's degree in mechanical engineering and robotics. He once made a potato salad with raw potatoes because he thought, since it's a salad, you're not supposed to cook it.
My dad, TAFE professor, got his mortgage down to $20,000 and had the opportunity to pay it all. Redrew and bought a brand new car. Totaled car. Bought another brand new car. Gave it to girlfriend at the time. Girlfriend left and kept car. Currently owes $250,000 on his same mortgage.
My brother's friend was high school valedictorian. In college, he gathered up deer turds to play a practical joke on his roommate by putting said deer turds into a box of Cocoa Puffs cereal. 2 days later he forgets about the deer turds and goes to pour himself a bowl of Cocoa Puffs. Instead of nice, sugary cereal, he gets a spoonful of deer turds.
My dad is a software engineer and pretty smart. When my twin and I were about 7, he was the only one home with us when he started coughing up blood. Except he didn't tell anyone and decided to just wait for my mom to get home instead of getting someone else to look after us and going to the hospital. My mom was so pissed when she got home and he casually mentioned the coughing up blood thing. Turned out he had bronchopneumonia and had to spend a couple weeks in the hospital. Even had to have his heart stopped and started again. He almost died because he decided coughing up blood wasn't an emergency.
My brother has PhDs in bioengineering. We were on a call one day and he was saying, "I can't find my phone. Probably my kids took it." Didn't realize until I told him that he was using his phone to talk to me.
My dad, he had one of his ears pierced when he was in college. He went to a party wearing an earring. A girl started talking to him and decided to give him one of her earrings, but he didn't want to take his earring out, so he stabbed her earring through his unpierced earlobe. This man is now an engineer.
My buddy, who is now a brilliant emergency medicine doctor, at one point while sledding bet he could jump off his moving sled, over a flat bench, and land on the sled. While moving, he realized he couldn't position to jump and crashed ribcage into the bench. Dumbest genius I have ever met.
I have a neighbor. He is by far the smartest person I know. A couple 4th of Julys ago he got a quarter stick of dynamite, and strapped it to an RC boat with a detonate button and a timer. He sent it out on the lake at night, flipped the switch and it didn't go off. So he took it back into the house to fix it, but never turned the detonate button off. So when it was fixed, the 7-second timer started going. It ended up going off in the house and blowing out all of the windows. Everyone was safe. TLDR, my neighbor blew up his house.
Where we are, you don't mess with jellyfish. They frick you up. My partner, post-grad quals, civil engineer, super rational, smart, measured, not at all impulsive human being walking along the water's edge at the start of jellyfish season. Sees a mass in the water. That looks like a jellyfish. Kicks the mass. Toe connects with mass. Frick. It was a rock. Having gotten over my amazement at the stupidity I just witnessed, I pocketed the rock. Gave it to him as a congratulations at your amazing career promotion, just to remind him he is not immune to errors of judgment.
My aunt, college professor, PhD in mathematics, was blown away when watching my father cook rice without a rice cooker.
My dad is the smartest person and anyone who knows him, know, and once when we were kids he tried to make us laugh by sticking peas in his nostrils and ended up accidentally snorting them up into his nasal passages. Best part, he's an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. One of the best in the region. Open mouth smile. I can still hear him pleading with my mother to take him out because he couldn't face his colleagues with peas up his nose that he voluntarily put there. Tears of joy.
Tried jumping over a pallet of boxes with their arms tied behind their back. Split lip open.
I did my undergrad with a guy who got an almost perfect score on his MCAT but also ate a raw chicken breast because he thought it was a really bad Hot Pocket. He was sober.
My husband. He's a mathematician for the feds. But he has repeatedly gotten us to the wrong airport in cities that have more than one. Like at least 3 times. He's brilliant, but a moron.
My sister, my wonderful sister, so intelligent, educated, but dang. They had their house inspected and the inspector found an issue with their gas heat. Called in a repairman and it turns out they were having lower levels of carbon monoxide leaking into their home. When my mom asked her why she didn't have several working detectors, she answered, "Well, I did, but one just wouldn't quit beeping." This was 10 years ago and we still bring it up all the time. Thankfully everyone turned out to be okay, but that wouldn't have been the case much longer.
My older brother was the high school valedictorian and decided to cut an apple with a large knife while holding it in his hand. He has a lovely scar from it.
I graduated with someone who got a perfect SAT score, but managed to cut off 2 fingers in shop class while trying to make a birdhouse.
My late father was a particle physicist. He understood things that, I think I'm not being hyperbolic here, only about 3,000–5,000 people understand. He was on a team that worked on the calculation of the mass of the Higgs boson. His team got it wrong. In addition to being a particle physicist, he was also an avid student of history and completed 2 bachelor's degrees at MIT, one in physics, one in history. Mind you, that's not a double major, but 2 degrees in 4 years. Anyway, that guy got done in by a 2-bit con job at an ATM in the late 90s. They wrote him a bum check for $200 or something and he gave them cash.
Easy. Dad's an actuary. Basically a cross between a mathematician and an economist. Wrote a textbook for his field, and has been CEO of several very large companies. I came home many years ago to hear Age of Empires blaring at 1,000,000 dB. That's odd. I wander downstairs to find him playing the game, with headphones on, but unplugged. He had the sound turned up on the speakers because he couldn't hear it over the dampening of the headphones. To top it off, he had the headphones on backwards. To this day makes me smirk.
The owner of the company I work for is one of the most intelligent people I have ever met. If you know someone who has had a hip replacement, odds are he is the one that engineered it. He owns something like 15 to 20 patents on products he has designed. He has created company after company and sold them after sweeping through whatever market. He does have some blind spots. One day he came to me and asked what side of the envelope the stamp goes on. He had never mailed anything before because his mom and then wife took care of everything for him.
Told me that they believe sex scenes in movies were real and didn't understand how the actor's significant others handled it. This person is a doctor.
My friend M is really good at math. She literally minored in it for fun. One day, we were walking along, and she said, "Guys, I saw something on Facebook this morning. We're only 81 years from the year 3000. This was in 2019. I thought she was making fun of the silly Facebook people. Then she said, "Isn't that crazy?" And then I realized that my friend who enjoyed calculus genuinely thought that 2019 plus 81 equals 3000. I had to break it to her gently. I will never let her live it down.
We were in a conference that mentioned bulimia and she said, "I think I have ancestors FTOM there."
Friend of my mother's, Ph.D. in biology, specialized in mushrooms. She was also a bit of an artist, and carved wood with bacteria in her spare time. She'd previously tried to do it with fungus, and, well, it wasn't fast enough. After a few years of carving with bacteria, she decided they weren't fast enough either. So she switched to insects. Ordered banned beetles from Japan, illegal insecticide from South America, and went to town carving faces in wood. Except that the government had noticed. When she got raided, there were 6 federal agencies and at least as many from the state. FBI, EPA, DIA, FWS, USDA, CBP. Her, oh, I'm a professor of biology at less than college greater than, worked great. The DIA and FBI were willing to overlook her coca-based insecticide, considering that she was eligible to purchase it with a couple of forms. The EPA and CBP didn't care about her illegal boring beetles for much the same reason. Fish and Wildlife didn't even know why they were there. The problem was the USDA. During the search of her house, they found a bag of the fungus that causes Dutch elm disease. Open. On the kitchen counter. Next to the toaster oven. She even got out of that.